Today, Thursday, March 14, 2024, we're going to continue on talking about this TikTok ban. Some new developments, not necessarily new, but different. My lighting is fucked. I'm still trying to get my lighting situation because I shoot at different times of day. And I got a window here, and then I got lights. And anyway, this TikTok situation is potentially going to start a bidding war for TikTok. Now, we've yet to see if the Senate is going to actually pass the bill. We may be weeks, maybe perhaps months forward for that happening. But since there is this push for Congress to change, okay, maybe we shouldn't keep calling it a TikTok ban. It is a ban. It's actually an ultimatum. It's an ultimatum for them to sell it to American assets in order to continue to function in this country. So it is an ultimatum. It's a ban, so to speak. But this is very interesting because now we may be on the verge of a bidding war to purchase TikTok. If the bill passes and there's going to be a forced sale, I think they call it a divestment or divestiture or some shit like that. I don't know. They're going to force a sale to some American companies, American assets. Now there's going to be a bidding war because obviously TikTok is a huge platform, right? It is obviously a cash cow for somebody, for whoever ultimately owns it. And so there's going to be a bidding war. So I found this video. Steven Mnuchin. I never really knew how to say his name. Mnuchin, whatever. He was the Secretary of the Treasury under Trump. I have not seen this video. I may not watch the whole thing. Maybe just get a few minutes of it. But basically, he's saying, former Secretary of the Treasury is saying he's going to put together an investment portfolio of rich motherfuckers to go ahead and try to buy TikTok if it gets to that point where it has to be sold and someone has to buy it. It's going to start a huge bidding war. If you think about it, right? And if we put our thinking caps on real quick, let's imagine all the people in the world, the billionaires, millionaires that are rich enough to purchase TikTok. Obviously, we got Elon Musk. He already bought Twitter. He may not be interested in another huge purchase like this, but he's obviously we can't cross him off the list. He's a possibility. We have Jeff Bezos, obviously Amazon dude. There may be a lot of interest for Jeff Bezos to purchase because he's got his huge Amazon store, right? He's a huge online retailer. TikTok has his TikTok shop, which obviously is just as easy to purchase on TikTok as it is on Amazon, right? If you see a product, if somebody's talking about a product online on TikTok, it's like 3 clicks and it's coming to your house. Jeff Bezos might be hugely interested in purchasing that. And in addition to control of information, right? He's not going to get political, but his interests are aligned towards certain political ideologies. So again, if the ultimate goal for this sale was to bring it into an American asset possession, people like Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, certain people of interest who can afford it or who may be able to come together and purchase it, can get it and do what they wanted with it, or could get the control over it that they have over their own platforms, right? So there might be a bidding war. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's get to the video. Let's see what Steven Mnuchin is talking about.
He joins us now. There is so much to talk about: the markets, inflation, the White House's new budget plan. TikTok, you just closed the capital infusion deal for New York Community Bancorp. Former Treasury Secretary is the founder and managing partner of Liberty Strategic Capital. I think we should start with TikTok because I think we're all trying to understand what's happening here, whether it should be banned, divested, or otherwise. And if it is divested, who may be a potential buyer?
Well, you know, when I was Treasury Secretary, I chaired CFIUS, and CFIUS approved, and I had President Trump sign an order that TikTok had to be sold. And I continue to believe that. So I think the legislation should pass, and I think it should be sold. I understand the technology. It's a great business, and I'm going to put together a group to buy TikTok.
You're trying to buy TikTok?
I am, because this should be owned by a U.S. U.S. businesses. There's no way that the Chinese would ever let a U.S. company own something like this in China.
You said, have you already put a group together?
Yeah, well, I'm working
You're
on it.
exploring a group.
I've spoken to a bunch of people, but
Hey, he knows rich
who would be part of your
motherfuckers.
group?
I can't tell that to you now. But
Can we
it
make
would
guesses?
be a
'Cause there's
combination of investors, so there would be no one investor that controlled this. And the issue is all about the technology. This needs to be controlled by U.S.
Let me ask you a very practical question. If you talk to folks inside the world of TikTok themselves, they would suggest that it is almost impossible within a 6-month time period to truly divest it to another group that,
What's wrong with
frankly,
his eye?
isn't a Meta or
What you got going on there,
Google,
bro?
if you will.
With your eye?
Because the data for the users is in the U.S., but the algorithm and so much of the other operations are outside of the U.S.
Yeah, that could take so
What do
long.
you know about, now that you've studied this business several years ago, and I can imagine you continue to, how you would actually operationally do it?
Well, let me first say, I don't think this should be controlled by any of the big U.S. tech companies.
Okay.
I think there could be
agree.
antitrust issues on that, and this should be something that's independent, so we have a real competitor, and users love it, so it shouldn't be shut down. The technology, I won't go into all the details, but the app needs to be rebuilt in the U.S. It needs to be U.S. technology. I think there's a lot that could be done in 6 months, but I would work closely with the U.S. and with China.
But do you think that the bill would need to get rewritten by the Senate, effectively, to give you more than 6 months? Is it a timing issue? Do you think?
I think a lot can
What's
be
this
done
with
in
6
6 months.
Are they trying to
It
do
may
something
take a little
before
bit
the election?
longer, but I think the bigger issue is this shouldn't be controlled by
emphasis
the
on
Chinese.
6 months
It
puts
is
us
an
in
issue for
September.
this to be on everybody's
Why?
phone.
Explain why. What are the reasons?
Here we go.
There's certain things I can talk about that are obvious, and there's certain things that I can't talk about that I had access to. But let's just say, when you have this app on everybody's phone, it has the ability to collect an awful lot of data.
Can I ask a question about
All
that,
the
though?
fucking
And this
apps
is the
do
thing
that.
I think nobody knows, and you may be one of the few people who does. Do you believe that the data that it is collecting today, both the data that's being collected and potentially certain things that are being pushed to the users, is being influenced and directed by the Chinese government today? Or do you look at this as a prospective national security threat, meaning it has not been put into practice in any meaningful way right now, but the worry is that one day it could? Which is it?
Well, I'm not going to comment on what's today, but I will comment. There's no question that on a forward basis, they have both the ability to influence the data and they have the ability to collect data, which is probably the bigger concern.
But you're not going to comment on today because you can't do that without giving away things that you might know that others wouldn't?
That's true, and also I think kind of the issue today, again, I think the focus should be, it should be sold, it should be controlled by a U.S. business. It's a great company. It would be terrible if it would shut down. Lots of users use
What do you
this.
think it'll do?
And we need a competitor to Facebook, Instagram,
We have
and
competitors.
To the extent we care, what do you think it will do to the relationship
What do you mean?
in China?
Okay, hold up.
Between the U.
When he says we need a competitor to those guys, it already is a competitor. So you need to buy it and make it American, bring it to an American servers, American technology to make it a competitor again. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know. This, again, there's going to be a bidding war, and now there's mad interest. And I hope whoever eventually ends up buying it, if the bill passes, doesn't turn it into a YouTube, doesn't turn it into a Google, doesn't turn it into Facebook, because we all know those platforms do not like free speech at all. They, at any given time, they're suppressing information. They're banning your page for making jokes, all these type of things.
U.S. and China, to the extent that I try to put myself in the shoes of others to just try to think through the implications. You think about a Chinese entrepreneur who builds something pretty great. If you don't think the Chinese government has already used it, which is an interesting question, and it could be used as prospectively, what does that say about how we as a country should operate? And we are different than China, hopefully.
There's a CFIUS order that's in effect to sell this. So it's in effect, Biden put a pause on it. I think there's a general bipartisan agreement this shouldn't be controlled by the Chinese. I think the Chinese will be fine selling it so long as there's not a technology transfer along the way. And that's the art of the possible.
Why do you think President Trump is now saying he signed that CFIUS bill, the CFIUS ruling that
with you
before him? Why do you think he's now saying that he doesn't think TikTok should be sold or shut down?
I think he doesn't want it shut down, but because he's concerned about the power that would create for Facebook. I believe he would support a sale. He did support a sale. Right. I'll call him up later and ask him, but I think the answer is...
Have you spoken to him about it?
I have spoken to him, but I haven't spoken to him about this week. But I believe he would support a sale.
What I found interesting about his comments about the Facebook pieces, and I appreciate his perspective on that, meaning he doesn't want one to be more powerful than the other, but I would have thought that the national security risk, if it really is a risk, and that's why I keep asking the question, if that would be a red line, a hard line. It wouldn't matter whether you care about whether Facebook or somebody else was going to get more power or not if you actually believed that this was a true and present national security threat.
There have been times you have seen, Jeff Bezos, and there are times where it almost looks personal sometimes with the former president, and everybody's got their own.
That's a rationalization defense of the president's thinking.
No, it's not. I'm saying you would normally just write it off to, oh, he's just got it.
I don't know what you're talking about now. So there. Again, it does still doubling down on the whole Chinese technology ownership data part of it. Again, I think it's fugazi. I think there's more to it there than they just really trying to make it seem like they care about the people. But it is interesting to see this bidding war that may start and to see who's going to pop up, show up, and say, hey, I'm trying to buy it. I think there was someone else, one of the dudes, I forget his name, that's on Shark Tank all the time. I think he made a video, or he was talking to somebody where he said he would put together an investment group to try to buy it. So, in the very least, right, being totally transparent about a potential sale, somebody's getting paid, right? If China, or ByteDance, or whoever is forced to sell it, they're going to get a payday because they're going to have so many filthy rich, filthy wealthy investors willing to bid for control of that application, at least on the U.S. side. So somebody's getting paid. I don't know. Could this all be a ploy for China or whoever ByteDance is to make money out of the deal? Like, I'm sure they have the application working in all the other countries where there doesn't seem to be an issue with their owning it, right? As far as I know, it's just America right now that has a problem. So they sell American parts of it off and make buku fucking money, billions upon billions, maybe. But there's definitely going to be a bidding war. I'm interested to see who steps up, who shows out, who says, hey, I want to buy it. I think Trump even said something about being invested in buying it too. So TikTok could be changing ownership. I feel like in the very least, it won't be banned because rather than being banned in this country, I think the owners, they're better off just selling it. If they're forced to sell it due to the bill, they're probably just going to go ahead and sell it and make buku money, right? What alternative is there? They cut off TikTok at the routers. It doesn't come into the U.S. anymore. It's illegal to have on your device in America. And then they lose the business. They lose all the usership. They lose every, they just cut that off. No, if they're forced to, they're going to go sell that portion and make some money at the very least. So I wouldn't worry about it being banned anymore. I think the new question is going forward later on this year, maybe going into next year, who's going to buy it? And if China can continue to own it and operate it in his country if the bill doesn't pass. Those are the new questions. Do me a favor. I started a Kick channel. I'm on the Kick streaming platform, kick.com, Kick. I'm doing 24-hour streaming of documentaries, of spirituality stuff, conspiracies, hidden knowledge, hidden occult type of things, some controversial stuff, some non-controversial stuff. Do me a favor, if you don't have a Kik account, go to kik.com/Lucid Perspective. Go ahead and make an account. Go ahead and subscribe. This is going to be a 24-hour live stream. Just going to put there's just a bunch of there's a bunch of documentaries in rotation. If you have one you want me to put up there, I will, as long as it's no problem. As long as Kik doesn't have a problem with it. I'm not making money off anything right now. I'll just continue to put stuff in rotation, and then any time of the day, morning, noon, night, middle of the night, you bored, you want something to watch, boom, go to the Kik stream, kik.com/Lucid Perspective. There might be something interesting for you. There might be something you need to watch at that time. There might be something specifically for you. So I appreciate you guys. That's today's video. I think it's safe to say TikTok is not going to be banned. It's going to be bought, or it's going to stay in Chinese ownership. Right? Those are the only two options. I don't think a ban is plausible. You know, if the bill passes, they're going to sell it because they're going to be making that money. So, and then from there we get to see who stepped up to buy it, and hopefully it's somebody who isn't about information suppression. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people gave a lot of shit to Elon for buying Twitter, but if you look at what he's done with Twitter, he's made it more fair for more people. You know what I'm saying? Before Elon, Twitter was hella stupid, far left. Right? There was no space for conservative people to say anything on that platform. You get banned, they delete your account, and then, you know, the people at the Twitter headquarters, they were just all over the place, just deleting conservative voices. Since Elon took it, he's made it more fair for both sides. I see bullshit of both sides. I don't just see the bullshit on the one side. So hopefully whoever buys TikTok is somebody who can do that same thing, can keep it the way it is, not really suppress information, not try to suppress a certain voice or embellish a certain voice. Like, I really hope that's what happens with it, but we shall see. This is the video. I appreciate you guys. See you tomorrow.